Pilates.
Hey everybody, Kristen here. Thank you so much for joining me on the Pilates Power Hour in 20 minutes. Today's episode, we are going to cover what Pilates is and is not. For our celebrity focus, we're going to look at Taylor Swift's on-stage regimen and how she uses Pilates to make sure she can deliver those electrifying and dynamic performances for hours on end. Then for our athletic focus, we're going to move over to the Kansas City Chiefs, who have begun to incorporate Pilates as a part of their training regimen as of 2024. And every single one of them is finding that they are happier and healthier on and off the field because of it. So we'll kind of dive into why that is. And then for our sort of regular person focus, we're going to look at a Beverly Hills hairstylist who is standing on her feet for about 14 hours a day at Christoph's salon, just making magic, both with celebrities and regular people, and loving what she does, because Pilates is helping her stay strong and focused and really letting her get other things done, not just having to exercise. And then we're going to wrap up with me giving you some tips and techniques that you can do right here while you're listening or watching, and also later on while you're standing somewhere. So thank you again for joining me. I'm excited about this episode. So let's get into it. Okay, first, what is Pilates? Well, Pilates is lengthening and strengthening all of your muscles from your center first. So what that means is that we stabilize or neutralize our core muscles, and then we would move our arms and legs from there. So for example, I like to tell people that your arms are actually attached to your back, not your chest. So if you're going to reach for a door handle, for instance, you would extend the hand forward, you would reach for that handle, but if you think about reaching from your back or reaching from your stomach and you grab the handle and pull it, and if you pull that handle with your back, or if you pull a drawer with your back muscles, you're going to notice that your neck is free, that your stomach is engaged, and your back is working, and it's not impeding you in any way. Like, you're not hurting yourself, you're not putting yourself at risk, and it's actually how we were designed to move. So next time you reach for a door, or right now you could reach for something, and think about grabbing whatever you're going for and then using your back muscles to pull it. And if you want to add some breath, we would inhale into our rib cage as we reach, and then we'd grab whatever, and then exhale into the diaphragm with your mouth. And you would be pulling, or you can do it pushing, a door open or a door closed. And that would be using the Pilates methodology to move about the world. And what people notice when they do Pilates a lot, or if they're in injury rehab, is that the Pilates method translates to every single thing that we're doing, right? Pilates is going to find you eventually, because gravity doesn't quit and time doesn't stop. And Pilates actually works against gravity, or it helps keep your organs in, it helps keep your bones aligned, and it helps us move correctly in the way that we're designed to, via our spine, our hips, and our back. I know, it's hard to believe, but when Joseph Pilates created Pilates, he didn't call it Pilates, he called it contrology. So the art of controlling yourself through your breath and your movement. And he actually studied animals in the wild and how they moved. And let's say like a cheetah or a cat puts a paw forward and then draws that paw back, or that leg back, by using their core. Same thing with the next limb coming forward. It's this motion of your stomach and your back moving your arms and legs kind of in sync. And that, turns out, is a very effective way to move here on earth for all of us, for all different kinds of people. So that's what Pilates is. It's a strength-based exercise that starts from a neutral spine, uses breath work and control, and we recruit our series of muscles from the insertion to the origin of the muscle, which is why we get that great sort of long, lean look instead of that bulkier in the middle, because you are using the whole series of muscles from one end to the other as you would bend and straighten. Pilates also focuses on the eccentric motion. So if I were to do a bicep curl, I wouldn't be so focused on the curl part, like when my hand would come towards my shoulder, but I would be really focused on the extending part. So I'd find my stomach and I would almost like push my hand away from the shoulder, and that's going to recruit all those muscles and flush all of that blood in there. So what you don't have to do is worry about remembering all of that. I was just kind of giving you the overall view there. So let's go over what Pilates is not, because I think that will help a lot of people with some misconceptions in general. So Pilates is not yoga. Yoga is a series of asanas or poses done with breath work only through your nose for the result of different energetic postures and different kinds of control. Pilates is a methodology that uses a system of breathing where the method is we engage our center first and then we move our limbs, our arms and legs from there. So yoga has a series of asanas or poses that are set. Pilates is a methodology with basically a limitless amount of things you can do, because as long as you go with the method, there's like between 50 and 500 Pilates exercises that are generally used. So moving along, Pilates is not only for women. I don't know why people think that. I have never had anybody come in and do Pilates and then it makes a lady out of them. Not any woman has become more of a lady from Pilates, and certainly no gentleman has become more of a lady from Pilates, for good and for bad. Pilates is not just stretching. Even though you lengthen and elongate, it's not just stretching. It is not done only with special equipment, but it can be. We have props. We have things like you see behind me, the spring wall. We have the reformer, the Cadillac. And then there's just mat Pilates. And mat Pilates is hard. It's against gravity. It takes a lot of work and focus, but it's so good for you. Pilates is not just for dancers. It happened to be that Joseph Pilates and his wife, Clara, landed in New York City next to Martha Graham's studio on 56th Street. And that became, the dancers would come over and it became synonymous with dancers because it was healthy for their body. They found it exciting and interesting because of the dance base. But it's not just for dancers. It's not just for athletes. It's not just for anyone. It's just for everyone, actually. It's for everybody. Everybody. It really works for all of us against gravity. You can build strength in Pilates. Pilates is actually a strength-based exercise. You are getting longer and stronger when you do Pilates. Ask anyone who's ever done a few classes, your core is instantly stronger and you stand up taller. And you can lose weight with Pilates. You tend to recruit more muscle fiber as you do Pilates, especially those little ones around your ligaments and joints. And what that does is once a muscle fiber wakes up, it does not want to go back to sleep. So it wants food and it wants water and it wants blood flow and it wants all these yummy things that it just got exposed to. And what that does is equals metabolism. So breathing is the fan of metabolism. The more you breathe, the more metabolism you're creating, and the more muscle fibers that are engaged in your body, the more metabolism you need to just get through the day. So Pilates is very helpful in losing weight because it helps your body align, but it also requires you to feed more muscle fibers. And not all Pilates classes are created equal. Some people, for some reason, think that there is more of a rehab type of Pilates. There's power Pilates. There's sort of, Pilates on the reformer. There's Pilates with props. There is Pilates boot camp is actually a class that I've created. So Pilates classes are not the same. All of us teachers are not the same, but we all follow the same methodology. And if you get us together in the room, we all try to take these series into a place that's just silly and ridiculous. Pilates is actually more in the zeitgeist than ever before. If you've ever seen the Saturday Night Live episode of Pilates, it's hilarious, and that's exactly what it's like. And I've seen Pilates on South Park. I've seen Pilates like in vampire shows. Alex Hammond, who is that really cool free climbing guy, he was asked once in his documentary, like, what is it like to free climb El Capitan? And he said, climbing El Capitan is like the hardest Pilates class that you've ever been in, where you're just shaking and you're holding it and you've got a few more breaths to go and the teacher's just intense. And if you let go of one thing, you're going to lose the whole position. And that's what free climbing is like. It's like the hardest Pilates class you've ever been in, which I just love it. So if you understand those misconceptions and you hung in there with me for that whole diatribe, then you can start to understand how Pilates is very versatile and effective in helping like lots of different people out there in the world. For example, Taylor Swift. So if you've ever seen a Taylor Swift concert, or even if you haven't, you probably know what her concerts are like. They're dynamic. They're hours long. She is doing these amazing, electrifying dance routines. She is bringing this cool, great energy to the world, right? And that's part of what she's doing. And she's taking her understanding of things and she's being dynamic and she's staying slim, but really strong. So she uses a lot of Pilates in her training regimens First, she uses a series of Pilates dynamic stretching to warm up her body to get ready for those cardio sections so she doesn't get injured. Then after her 60-minute cardio sessions, she does a whole series of classical strengthening Pilates to help her keep control over her muscles, keep her mental focus, and keep her core so strong that she can deliver all of those different movements, changes of direction, heels, you name it. So she gets to breathe into her lungs, exhale into her diaphragm, and she knocks it out of the park every time. And she really does. She does give Pilates a lot of credit for that. So if you start to think, oh, is Pilates, what can I use? You can be Taylor Swift with your Pilates, right? She claims literally that it grants her greater control over her body, improves her posture, and really helps elongate her muscles. So there you go. Now, moving on to our athletic profile, I thought it was appropriate to go to the Kansas City Chiefs, especially because Taylor Swift's boyfriend is there. But they're also, multiple champions of Super Bowls, and they literally incorporated Pilates into their training regimen as of this past year. Because what they are finding is, obviously Pilates helps with stability and core strength, balance and injury prevention and mental focus, but it does that on this elite NFL level. And what they're finding is literally that 2 one-hour sessions a week after 12 weeks has done so much improvement in the coordination of your upper spine and your abs that is preventing injuries, neck and shoulder injuries out there on the field. And it's like a car wreck every time they just slam into each other. And how many plays of that? Like, how many times can that happen? Well, they're really finding that the specific core strength from Pilates is greatly improving the injury risk from getting tackled. It's improving the symmetry. It's improving the ability to change directions on the field without getting hurt. And it's improving the mental focus a lot. And that is a big deal, right? I mean, if you're not at your A focus and your A game body, you're getting hurt. And so what they're finding is after 12 weeks, literally their improvement is so much, they're basically winning the Super Bowl. So if that doesn't tell you that Pilates is not just for girls, I don't know what is. So then moving on to our regular person. So my Beverly Hills stylist works at Christoph Salon. She's a wonderful lady named Valerie. She is probably standing for 14 hours a day, and she has such a good attitude. She loves her job. She creates beautiful hair for celebrities, for regular people, for her kids, her family, her grandkids. And she really does credit Pilates for giving her that core and leg strength to stand all day, the mental focus to really stay engaged and into what everybody needs to look like and what's going on while she's chatting also. And another big one is she doesn't want to spend her whole life exercising, right? She already spends a lot of time working. She's French. She doesn't want to just work out all day. So she really credits the fact that you can do just a small amount of Pilates and get all of this great effort to the fact that she gets to do other things in her day. And she feels amazing for taking care of herself. So Pilates works on all of your muscle systems from your inside out. But specifically, if you do standing Pilates, for example, or just short periods of it, it works on your legs, your hips, and your back. And what we know is over time, especially, your back gets tight. The legs and hips can get a little bit weak or lack of range of motion. And that's terrible because it leads to injuries or things like hip issues and stuff that slowly take us down and take away our joy in life. And they add pain. And we can prevent that, or we can prolong our ability to stand and be dynamic by just adding some Pilates, which takes me to our tips and tricks. So what I want you to do right now, wherever you are, whether you're listening or watching, I want you to take a big inhale through your nose into your rib cage. Try to expand your back with that inhale. On the exhale, you're going to exhale through your mouth and tighten your stomach. So that's the Pilates breathing. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale into the ribs, expand them, and then exhale into that low belly. Awesome. 1 more time. Inhale into the ribs, exhale into the low belly. And you should start to feel your neck get a little looser. You should start to feel your hands get a little looser, right? Because you're using your stomach. And what that does is when we inhale in through our nose into the lungs, into the rib cage, then it gives us all this space and wakes up our mid back. And when we exhale into the low belly and into our diaphragm with our mouth, It really strengthens our core. So let's go back to that example of you're inhaling, grabbing a door handle, exhaling, opening the door. So you inhale into the ribs, grab the door handle, and then you exhale into the low belly, and you wind up pulling that door handle with your stomach and your back and not your neck. So let's say you're going to pick something up in front of you, remembering that your arms are connected to your back. You're going to inhale, extend to pick whatever up. Maybe it's a kid. Exhale into that low belly, bringing it towards you. And again, you have done the correct breathing. You've set yourself up for the correct movement, and you feel better from it, right? Right. The trick is remembering how to do that, or when to do that, or to do it at all. So we're going to do a little experiment. I want you to look at your right hand, wherever you are, whether you're driving and you look at your right hand, or you're just watching this and you're looking at your right hand or holding something. Just look at your right hand, and you're going to take an inhale into your ribs, and you're going to exhale into your belly. Just looking at that right hand. If your hand is free, maybe turn it over. One more time, inhale into the ribs, exhale into the belly. And the hope now is that you're going to remember to do some Pilates breathing the next time you see your right hand. Who knows? Let me know if it works. Let me know if you have another tip or trick that we could all use in our community to help us remember some Pilates. Okay, so the next one I'm going to send you away with is something called standing Pilates, and it's called the standing 100. So don't worry if you're just listening to this and you're not watching. I can still explain it to you. So you're going to stand just tall with 2 feet on the ground and really feel your heels into the ground. So what we're going to do from here is on the inhale, we're going to take our arms over our head and feel our heels down into the ground, which fires up our back muscles, and it also opens up the front of our body. And on the exhale, we're going to push our hands a little bit behind us now and lean into the balls of our feet. Nice. Big inhale, reach the hands up, open up the chest and stomach, fire up the back, and on the exhale, into the diaphragm, the hands are behind you, you lean a little bit forward. One more time. Big inhale, reach the arms up into the heels, and then exhale, lean a little bit forward, squeeze your back muscles. Now, just that alone has lengthened, strengthened, and elongated all of your muscles from your center. And it has raised your metabolism. It has flushed fresh blood through all your limbs. It made your heart pump. It increased your metabolism, I'm not kidding. And it made you that much closer to being Taylor Swift or one of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, take your pick. It's all a win-win. So that brings us to the end of this episode. I thank you guys so much for joining me in the Pilates Power Hour in 20 minutes. What I would love is to hear your stories. Hear your stories of how Pilates, you found it changed your life, right? Or you saw somebody improve from it, or you became a Pilates teacher, or something super cool like that, because I love to know. And if you want to be on the show because you have found Pilates to change your life for some reason, then let me know and you can come on the show and share that story, because this is what I do. This is who I am. I am a Pilates teacher. That's all I know. I've been doing Pilates since I was 3 or 4 years old, from competitive figure skating all the way through teaching it now. So I can't get too much of it. I can talk about it forever. I could talk about it for an hour, but I decided to make this 20 minutes so that the rest of the world would want to listen to it. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I cannot wait to talk to you next time. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.
Looking good.
Oh yeah, just working out a lot, doing Pilates and stuff.